Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are at this time, whenever you're listening. Welcome to the 49th episode of the Divine Mess. And for once, after a while, we have no guests for this episode, which seems a bit weird, I think, at first, but
Mhm.
obviously, we always have something to share. By the way, if the first time you're listening, this is the Divine Mess where we have fun conversation about spirituality. If you're curious about spirituality and have fun, practical ways and weird ways and woo-woo witch ways, however your kids may call that, we do have that in this podcast. I'm Kirti Deva Perumal, the cosmic healer of the Hero's Mystic, where we help you to slay your inner demons and awaken your inner hero. And like every single week, I'm joined by Tina Marie, who live far, far, far away from me. Like
It's not
just
Never Never Land, right?
who is in another country yet feel close to me.
hmm
And
Yeah,
she's a lovely mom, lovely and strong mom of only four boys,
only
four
four,
growing boys, just four.
just four.
She never had enough of the boys. She said she loved them to death, right?
Of course
And
I
like
do. Of course I do.
every
Every
single
single week.
and now also she has a job, like she
I
like to call
do.
it.
And it's fascinating. And it's so lovely where you get to play in a realm of something that you didn't think was possible. So now I get to help people design the interiors of their homes and sell them beautiful furniture. And so I got my fingers in lots of pies and it's fun. It's not just, I'm not just a one hit wonder. I like to do a lot of things, or otherwise I get extremely bored. But that might be a little bit of my human design coming out. I like bright, shiny on a regular
She love
basis.
Yeah,
hmm
and you love to have fun on many fronts, like
Yes.
even with the gym, the running, and which she's
Gym,
doing like
running, reading, you name it, writing books. You and I, we've done lots of things in this. Well, I think even in the last, the length of the 49 episodes that we've had on this year, we've moved houses and we've done different jobs and we've spoken to some of the most incredible humans that we didn't know from a bar of soap before we started. Um, we've interviewed some people and gone, yeah, no, not our type of human. So then we haven't interviewed them for the podcast. If you haven't been through the process that we go through, we like to have what we call a little bit of a divine conversation before people come on our virtual couch and share with us how they're serving the world and how they have become spiritually aware, I think is a good way of putting it. And sometimes we just don't vibe. I think that's the nicest way of putting it, and how I have to sometimes quietly talk my podcast mate off the ledge quietly with looks and silent elbows to say, no, we don't need to do that. No, let's close this off quickly, quietly, cleanly, and move along. But 90% of the time, the people that we attract, we get so much out of it, wouldn't you say? Like
yeah,
that
I
we
think
get.
like everyone brought their own lesson, even the one that you mentioned that we even the ones that we may not resonate with,
Mhm.
uh, and then we get to know more about them as well, but still we learn something out of it and how to refine our process, for example.
Yeah.
So for me personally, like I look at that um, situation, or
Mm.
like at that moment as a learning curve, like for the podcast, and this helped us to gain more clarity about whom we are bringing on the couch, and some people, and to accept that some people are not aligned with what we are doing. They are not our type of audience, maybe, or the one that we want to share with our audience.
Mm.
but some of them we were just like, like blown away,
But it's like
totally
the
blown away.
instant friendships, right? Like
Mm,
in terms of going, oh, there you are. A bit like when you and I met. I think
yeah,
it's on the same sort of vibe, is that you go, oh, okay. You were just the person I needed to talk to today. That was the one thing I needed to take away for myself. Because I think we take away as much from those conversations as what our listeners would,
yeah,
that we get
because
great stuff from it.
yeah, you're always learning. We are always, and for us, like I feel like every guest that we had was aligned
Yeah.
with what message we needed to hear that day,
Yeah, correct.
or what we are meant to hear that day. And
Yeah.
because after every like conversation or recording, we always say, yep, gentle reminder from the universe. Surrender, that was the famous word. I think
Sweet
like this
Jesus, how many
podcast,
times has it come up? Really?
I think at one point we need to rename this podcast as Divine Surrender or whatever it is, because
Yeah,
this
shut
word,
up,
like,
sit down, take a seat, and just get on the bus.
because this word, like, I don't know how many times it came up in the 49 episode. Like, so I think like 99% of all of the episodes that it
Yeah.
came up,
Yeah.
and we just said like, yeah, surrender. And this is what we constantly say. And even the conversation now we are having, I feel that even the guests that we are going forward with, it's like keep elevating us.
Yeah,
It's
it's
like keep
interesting. It's
building
like
us.
it turns something on in our coding or our DNA, and just, it's like getting that radio station finely tuned, and then you're playing this beautiful music for a period of time because your body's just humming in the right space. And so when you're humming at that space, then you're attracting a new lot of humans to come in. But honestly, people, if you would like to come and join us on the virtual couch, we'd love to hear your stories, and we'd love to hear your experiences, whether you're just starting out on your journey, because I think they're equally as good as the ones who are knee deep in their journey, because it's a constant state of evolution. There's never a point, I think, where you can draw the line and say, I'm done. I don't think there's ever a point in this journey. I think the only time when you get to call that line is when your human has done what it needs to do, and then you get caught somewhere else. I think that's the only time you can draw the line in the sand and say that you're done. But everything else is up for grabs.
Yeah.
Haven't you had the most amazing year of learning about yourself and what you thought you could cope with, and you know your ability to handle things that perhaps even 2 years ago would not have
Yeah.
been, something that you would have dealt with very well.
Yeah, I don't think so. Like when you reflect, I was reflecting like I do, like like every night, like on the day, and even on basically the past year that we did for a podcast, like for us to start and sharing our stories. Some are very personal, some are very like vulnerable that we shared.
Mm.
And now the guests that coming out as well are sharing those stories, being vulnerable, being open. I feel that like every person that you meet is telling something about you as well. Is a good reminder of who
Mm.
you are, or who you're becoming, or who you want to be,
Or
and
what
who
you
you
have the
aspire.
capability to be as well, I think, is the
Yes,
other thing.
I think it's the mirror, is like the person that you aspire to be is already you, like deep
Mm.
within. but you're looking at those guests and say, wow, they done, like sometimes we reflect and say they done so much inner work, like, and we say we need to go deeper, but actually we are doing what's meant to do, like I realize even with clients now that if someone doesn't want to change, they're not willing to, you
Mm.
can push them as much as you want.
Yeah.
Until they make that decision to change, that
Mm.
nothing will happen. It's until you decide. And I feel all those guests that we had, all those stories that we had, they had like those common threads, like they would, for me it's like the hero's journey completely, like they had
Mhm.
that calling maybe through different ways, like like the universe stopped them in a way, awakened them in a way,
Mm.
in terms of accident, or someone said something to them, they found a teacher, who, whatever it is,
Yeah.
it's that they awaken to their true potential. And I feel that through our podcast, like offering weekly practical simple tool, easy, I feel it's very
Mm.
easy. It's not
Mm.
telling you to go in a cave, like meditate for 8 hours a day like a
Or
job,
in silence.
or in silence, or stay no music, no guided meditation. It's not telling you that,
Mm.
but it's thought like maybe with a 5 minute practice or a 1 minute, even if you say you don't have time to do that, like
Yeah.
even telling people that and reminding people of those simple tools, I feel that really help to grow our audience and for them to come back and constantly listen again. And like we say, like choose one episode that resonate with you and then just go, slide it, like go on the slide, and whatever time is it, 11 minutes that you want to
Mm.
listen to, start, because
Yeah.
that's your message for you.
Yeah.
And I feel that every guest has taught us to go within, like every single one is like it's about going within. There's the answer that we are constantly looking on the outside, you know in terms of books, audiobooks. Yes, they are good for reminding you, but
Mm.
the answers that are meant for you, it's within you.
Yeah. And a lot of people struggle with that concept, right? Because we're always externally seeking um, clarification, or we're seeking signs from the universe. And I had someone mention it to me once, and she went, Ting, you've got everything that you need. You just need to ask yourself the questions. She said, don't go to an external source to get the answers. You just need to take the time to breathe and to stop and to ask. And don't be frightened about what actually comes up. You might not like it, right? You might not like the answer. It might be that you are being asked to forgive someone that has, from your perspective, done the wrong thing, said the wrong thing, created a situation or a circumstance that was, you felt damaging to you as a person. But the problem is, if we hang on to that and we carry that with us, imagine how many suitcases of crap that you've got to drag along the ground, of all the stuff, someone's cut you off in traffic, your sister's done the wrong thing by you, your parents have done the wrong thing by you. Maybe they haven't. Maybe they've done what they've done because that's their state of development. That is their level of understanding. That is their only way that they know how to deal with something. That they can't give you what you're seeking because you're resonating on a completely different level. So I think we've spoken about it a few times. It's that, I love you, please forgive me. It's the word that always my tongue gets stumbled upon, the, forgiveness prayer, and the difference that, thank you. It always sounds better coming out of your mouth anyway than it's but the difference that can make for you and the relationship that you have with that. person. I know I did it through my divorce proceedings. And for me, I don't know whether it made a difference for him, but for me, it made a difference. It made me feel easier closing the book. And, you know, there's still stuff that you've got to deal with, but, you know, in terms of the finality of it, but it was still easier to chop it off and say, I'm done and I'm finished. And, you know, I want us to part on good terms. And I don't think there's ever, you know, the couples that part on good terms out of relationships, I think they're very few and far between. I don't think that there's a lot that would say that they come out of the other side of it being better friends than they did going in. I think mine is what you would term a tenuous relationship at best, because there's still the buttons. As much as you've endeavoured to heal those buttons, and I'm sure you've dealt with this with clients, in that you've got to take a breath and go, why is this stirring this up? Or, you know, speaking of stirring things up, I had to fill out a police report, you know, to get my clearance to go and start my new job. The anxiety ridden, like, what's it going to turn up? I'm like, this isn't from this lifetime. I'm sure of it. I had to have a really long conversation with myself in the shower, in going, where is this anxiety coming from? Every time a police car screams past me, that anxiety ridden state, and you're going, oh, okay, maybe this is something I need to delve into a little bit more. Because apparently Dolores Cannon, amazing human. If you have not listened to any of her stuff, I listened to Horns of a Goddess. Amazing book, talking about past life regression. And I met someone somewhere who said, oh, I know a girl who's trained under Dolores and she does past life regression. And I'm like, right, need to follow that one up. Need to go and have a couple of conversations. But I have just found this year so enlightening in for what it has shown us. I think how our friendship has grown, and just being forever grateful that we took the leap of faith and just went, oh, let's just give it a crack, see what happens. But what about you? Like, what for you, what's come out of this year? Have you been led down mysterious rabbit holes?
So there's a lot. Obviously, we can like like go on different tangent about that.
Yeah,
Like because there's so many like every single week. Because I connect with the guests sometime first because of what you're doing. Like sometimes I get the opportunity to talk with them
yeah,
first, and always those conversation like I was like, oh, I wish Tina was there here, like just to press record, like instantly. Like
yeah,
you just want to press record at this moment. I was like,
yeah,
yeah, we don't need to go further. Like just stop. Um, it's because I feel that inner work, like just like you mentioned, when you had that anxiety hearing the police siren, for example, and you have to fill out that form, and like even simple thing you did was like in the shower, for example, asking yourself where is that coming from. And that's what people I feel need to do, like just ask those questions. And I feel like every guest also like reminded me of that, like it's not just asking from fear, but it's asking from that place of compassion, love. um, because I was just listening to The Universe Has Your Back, and normally I do that on like going to the gym or going for a walk before, like in the car, and I will always put a random time because I know the book, like for word, word to word, like because I listen to that book so much, like I know what Gabby is going to say next. So it's like, yeah, I can literally hear her saying it before she said it because I know that so much. But this become a constant reminder. And she was saying like, if ever, like you feel that anxiety or overwhelm, just take a breather, just take a step back, and wherever you're feeling it in your body, like just feel it, just accept it. More importantly, send a golden globe of light to that part and just feel it healing that part and say, thank you, universe, for showing me this like anxiety through the lens of love. Very simple, or through the teacher of love. And you focus on that love within you, and that will automatically like heal you. It may not be like as quick as you wish, sorry, as your mind want to be, because we want to run a sprint. Our mind want to run a sprint sometimes, but the universe is like, well, if you want a sprint, I'm going to give you a marathon. And if you want like to sprint in the marathon, well, guess what? We give you an Ironman race, just to play with you, just to have fun with you. For those who don't know Ironman, you can ask Tina's partner as well about it. He can tell you a lot about it, about that mental strength, resilience you need to have during those times of doing that race. But this is just, I was like listening to a video as well where they said like, sometimes the universe put you in this situation because you asked to be great at what you're doing. So for you to help others to become great, he needs to get you in this trials or whatever you want to call it, or challenges, so that you know how it is and you can help the others better. And I
Mm.
feel like as coaches and now as podcast hosts as well, every time we meet a guest, this is what it shows with them, like how they overcome the trials or challenges they gone through, not easily, but rather accepting it, acknowledging it, and not giving up, and like finding that strength that's already within us to grow.
Mm.
And I feel like during this past this year, it's constantly, every moment is like a, for me, is a reminder of being resilient and strong. And there was that movie, I think there was Morgan Freeman. Obviously, he was playing God. You know, he always played this type, being God. And he said, like, whenever we ask for courage to God, right? He doesn't give you courage. He give you experience or challenges
Mhm.
so that you can like awaken that courage within you.
Yeah.
So whenever you're going through those difficult, dark times, whatever you want to call it, just remember maybe like tomorrow or the next moment could be better. And that's what you keep telling yourself, like, because for us, like, we always mention that word surrender, let it go. That's our fun word. That's our constant reminder. And I feel that
Oh,
the universe tests us more on that because we are
yeah.
given situation to test our faith. So whatever you're asking, sometimes you have to go. Like there was one girl who explained it so well. Like it says, you ask the God for a cake, he doesn't give you the store where you can buy it. He give you the eggs, the flour, the bowl, the mixer, whatever it is, the whole ingredient, and you got to make and create the cake that you want as well, and
Mm.
through God's work. And I feel that's a beautiful analogy as well for people to remember that.
Mhm. Yes, like patience is one of my things. It took me 9 rounds of IVF to have 2 babies. So I got given lesson upon lesson upon lesson about patience and trusting that I was meant to be a mum, that I would get what I needed and that they would show up when they were meant to, not when I thought they should. You remove the human ego element out of it. And when you let go and let the universe, God, Buddha, Jehovah, whoever, into the driver's seat, and you say, okay, take me where I need to go to learn these lessons of how to be courageous and how to be patient and how to be trusting and how to learn to love. All of these things are teaching us more about our capacity to hold. Because when we ask to hold something great, we get tested as to whether we can carry the weight. Whether, you can hold that basket of laundry and then the next lot and then the next. You never get given more than you can handle. And I think for me, that's one of the biggest takeaways in my 49 years on this planet, is that I've never been given more than I could handle. And everything that I have gone through has given me the capacity to coach, to mentor, to guide others in going, you'll be okay. There's something in this for you. It's teaching you something about yourself. And my son's in living with ease and grace, and they want to belt their heads up against the brick wall, and I want to dive right into the whole mess about patterns and creating chaos, and I'm just like, no, live with ease and grace. This is your journey. This is your Ironman race. You run it, you walk it, you hop, skip and jump it, you do what, and it's the same when we come across clients. Like you say, you have to pace it at where they're at. And it's a bit like when my kids open the fridge and go, I can't see the tomato sauce or the leftover pizza from yesterday, or I wanted a banana or I want an apple and I can't find it. It's because you're not vibrating on the same level. I can see it because I'm on the same level. You can't see it because you can't see it. There's a reason. So shut the door, walk away, have a think about what you really want, come back, open the door, and it'll be there. A, because I know I put it there. B, you have to do that discovery for yourself. And it's the same for all of us. We can see when our friends are in bad relationships, or when a job that they're doing is literally sucking the soul out of them, or they're doing something which is infinitely dangerous, but you can go, the choice is yours. It's choose your own adventure. You get to pick that page, that person, that job, driving down that road, driving at 60 kilometers an hour or driving at 210. The choices are yours, but you also have to understand that it's that basic science principle, which I'm sure your dad has taught you all the time. For every action, there is an equal and opposite reaction. So you have to know that what you throw out there in the great pool of the universe is going to come back. Sometimes come back to you very nicely in a karmic sort of way, or sometimes it's the big dog that's going to come and bite you on the butt, because whatever you've put out there is not pleasant. And it's not for the best of yourself or the others that surround you. So
it's about learning your lesson as well, right? It's about understanding your lesson.
And how many times it shows up in a different set of patterns.
Especially surrender.
Our surrender's shown up in lots for me. Lots.
Yeah.
So
Because
many so.
no, because now like I know like like whenever you're sharing what's happening in your world, your first your next thing, like you will tell me, please don't tell me to surrender or let go. It's like already I was like, yeah, already answered your question, so I don't need to answer.
But
It's
I
like
think that's the
you're
beauty of the friendship, right? It's the
yeah.
I I got over having friends that told me what I wanted to hear.
Mm.
And then all of a sudden your friendship circle becomes very small and you feel quite a little bit lost. And then it slowly starts to expand with the right. And funnily
Yeah.
enough, two of my very favorite humans are from Mauritius and they do not sugarcoat, nor do they dress it up with a Louis Vuitton handbag and a Louis Vuitton pair of shoes. Like it just doesn't. It's there in a pair of flip flops and shorts and a t-shirt, and it's just this is exactly how it is. And I love and appreciate that so much because then I go, oh yeah, you're only getting told what you need here. Just put your big girl pants on and move on.
Because that's what I tell my clients, like, what do you want to hear? Because
Mm,
I can go both ways, like to be honest and just like sugarcoat it the other way. But are you ready and open to hear it?
mm,
Like you were mentioning that it's so easy for us to see for others what's happening in others, yet for in our own life, like we know what to do, but still we feel stuck.
mm.
And yesterday, one of my clients was telling me, "Oh, it's so good, like it's so easy for me to, like to tell others to trust the universe, to have faith. Yet I'm not doing it. Yet I'm not, um, like not putting in the work to do that. Yet I'm so good at telling every, mom. She's a single mom as well, so
Yeah.
she said like, yet it's so easy to tell all the mom to trust the universe. Yes, someone really good will come to you once you start taking care of yourself. And then my next question is like, so how are you taking care of yourself? Tell me about
Yeah, that would be
that.
it.
And then she's like, mm-hmm. So I better not tell you anything because you will turn it back to me. I was like, yep, I'm going, I'm going to put everything back to you because see, we tend to focus on others, what they are doing, what they are not doing, what they should be doing. As we know now from one of our guests, should is a
Shame
from a
language.
shame language, right?
Mhm.
And so it's about focusing on you, refocus on you constantly. What's making you happy? What can you create? I think like Sarah Landon, she channeled the council, and she says in her book, The Wisdom of the Council, is like, ask yourself, what can you create right now? What can I create in the next moment?
Yeah.
Because it, I feel like yesterday I got that. I felt like the universe was telling me that like every moment is like a clean slate that you get. Like it's like a reset button. So there's no pause in terms of universe. Like when you feel guilty, you blame yourself, you feel low, whatever it is, and you say, I could have done better or I should have done that.
Mm.
And we go into that framework. So it's about reminding yourself that in terms of the universe, there's nothing wrong you did. It's all about forgiveness, compassion, being loving and kind to yourself.
Yeah.
And just ask yourself, like, what can I do right now to make me feel happy? It could be like that cup of coffee. It could be like walking your dog. It could be like just going out, feeling the sun for 5 minutes or 1 minute. If
Going
you're
and
getting
jumping in
sunburnt,
puddles. It could be, going for a swim, turning your favorite song on and just moving your body in non-linear ways to shake out whatever it is that has gotten hold of you or has put the brakes on whatever it is that you're doing. So try something that you wouldn't normally try, because that same guest, name has just completely left my brain at the
Brianna.
moment. Thank you. Like she had that process of going, okay, well, if my normal tips, if my normal things that I do for myself aren't working, where can I shift myself and my energy to get other people's input? Where can I get that honest friend that tells me I'm full of crap and that I need to do something? Or if that's not working, go and find yourself a teacher. Go and find someone who will act like that gigantic mirror and hold it right up to you and say, what do you see? This is what I see. What do you see? So all the advice we offer our friends, all the practical tips we offer our friends, we need to start doing that for ourselves, and particularly for those who roam in the parental realm. The concept of putting ourselves first before our children is a hard lesson to learn, but it's essential. We can't care for others. We can't do our, whether it's our jobs, volunteering, whatever it is that we happen to do. We can't be of service to others if we are not of service to ourselves first. And it could be really as simply as shutting the bathroom door and taking a shower by yourself. Sometimes it comes down to the really, really simple things, getting a pillow, yelling into it, doing whatever it is you need to do to move the energy. But I love what we're creating here. And I love speaking to people I've never met before in my life and just went, oh, you're good. You're a goody egg. You're the sort of person that I'm glad I've attracted into my life, because simply by me picking up the phone and going, I'm sick of my own shit, let's get this thing on the road. Look what we've created. It just brings such joy, every single week to go, I get to talk to my mate. It's grand. Who else gets to say that they get to do that every week?
So like you said before before pressing record, is like we never put a number of, oh, we should do like 50 episodes, we should do 100 episodes and see what happens. We never put a number. We just press record and did it.
Yeah.
And that's what I really like about it, because when we first started, now we are getting clearer and clearer with time, and I feel like the audience will feel the shift and the change uh, in the right direction, I would say, when
Yeah.
where we are being guided with the change that's coming. It's not like massive changes. I feel that's making us even better and better, so that we can go to 100, 200, whatever the number is.
Wherever it's meant to go,
Mm,
we'll just keep going until we're guided to do something different.
yeah. And I feel that the universe is constantly guiding us, because this is a legacy that we are living, because people can go back and listen to it any point in time. Like even your boys, like they can one day go back and listen. I'm pretty sure
Oh my
Spotify will
God.
be still here, or it will evolve, but
It will
this
evolve
is
into something, but it's there for
mm,
it's there for access. Because how many people of your ancestors do you wish you could hear them speak, or their magic, their wisdom? Like you want to go back through the generations and go, tell me about what you've survived, what you've moved through. Like,
mm,
thank you for giving that to me. But at the same time, to have it deeper level of understanding about that. Whereas now those within our family who choose to or choose not to listen to our conversations, it's nice that it's there, that there's a reference point for going, oh, holy shit, if Nana could do that at 50, what can I do? Like, do you know what I mean? Like as the generations come along, it's an interest. Legacy is an interesting question. Like, what mark do you want to leave? Hopefully one for the better.
What we are doing anyway, like it's for the better. I feel like it's giving practical tips. Really, I find it really easy, to be honest. Like what every week, what we are sharing, it's just our ego or mind that gets in the way. It's like get out of your own way, like just and listen to your intuition. Regarding the ancestors, it's like I'm asking them, like create a podcast back then, like so that I can listen to like the full audiobook or concept episode, because sometimes when they communicate with you through, like you were speaking about past life regression, all of that, because the ancestors will come up and share something, and like we both know, when you get those dreams or whatever you hear, it could be like a song, a one word sentence, or just one word, or it's not even a complete sentence, or if it is a sentence, it doesn't make sense at all. It's like, what are you talking about? Like, but that's when our ego gets into play, but it's about feeling energy with them, with our ancestors. And I feel that throughout our journey on this podcast, it has helped us as well to deepen our inner work, to reflect more. Because I know for a fact that you write down whatever strike you on the day, like during that, and it's like creating those memories, like one day maybe when you're having like a downtime and you just go back and read that one sentence or one word, that will like trigger a memory, and you will be like, yeah, this is what I needed today, like.
Yeah.
And I know like Lewis Howes does that a lot. Like he has I don't know how many notebooks of his guests, and he constantly write whatever he's constantly learning. And like we say to every guest, we are here to learn. We're not we are no expert in the field or whatever it is. We are just like vessels, like people who are messengers, transmitting or sharing what you need to hear on that day, whatever is coming through. Like today, like there was no specific plan. Like we just turn up and say, this is what we are going to share. We just press the record button and this is what we're sharing.
Yeah.
And our like insights on different episodes, because if we have to take, like we are doing every, like for every guest now, we are doing like another episode to reflect on it. And I feel sometimes the one episode of reflection is not enough. It's like you can go on so many tangents from just one sentence, one word they say, one quote that was mentioned, and you can just go on that.
Yeah, 1,000%. But I think it's interesting, the duality of being both the student and the
teacher
at the same, at the same time. But so important with all the knowledge that we're gaining is finding a way to integrate it. Is finding a way to add it into, or you'll get a reminder about, sometimes the word should will come out of my mouth. I'm like, no, don't should have to do anything. I just need to go, why did that come up? And that's also the thing that you'll understand about going on a spiritually enlightened journey. You're constantly asking why. It's never as simple as accepting something at face value. It's never as simple as I've got a cold, I've got a this, I've got a, no. you're getting an upgrade, your DNA is being recoded. Things are changing for a reason because your body is going to need it further on down the track. It's just a different way of different set of glasses, right? Feels like I put different ones on every single day, and I get a new perspective on life, and it's nice to kind of go, okay, I don't have all the answers, but all these beautiful people that come and leave footprints, on my journey have been amazing. I don't think there's any other, for all the good and all the bad and all the really fucking ugly, it's been beneficial. There's, stuff that I've taken out of that had a lady walk into the store last night. She was like, I've just left my husband after 26 years. I'm just moving into an apartment, and these are the things that I'm looking for. And I've never been in your store before. And I sat with her for 30 minutes and just, some of the tips from the podcast, one day at a time, honey, just one foot in front of the other. Do as much as you can do. And don't berate yourself for it. It's okay to take time for you. Don't have to care for everybody else first before you take care of yourself. I'm like, oh my God. It's those gentle reminders that you get. It's like,
You
okay.
should repeat that last sentence. I couldn't hear it for
Yeah.
one reason.
I'm just gonna because we've
This
got
is
that
an
sort of
inside,
friendship.
yeah, just an inside joke that we have. But it's
Mother's practical tips, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
because moms are they're good at giving others advice,
Yes.
like really good. Intuitive, like intuitive, know what to say at the right time, being comforting. But when you ask about them, that's another question. Like that's another. Not just one question will come. It will be like, why are you focusing on me? Why are you talking about me? I'm here for my kids, for my husband, or
Yeah,
partner.
it's an interesting thing. Like you remove that label off people, and then they're like, "Oh, okay, I'm not really sure." But I think this year I've given myself space and time to work out what that is, what that looks like, or how it's evolving. What is it evolving into? How do I want to continue the next half of my life? And how can I take what I've learned? Like, how can we take what we've learned in the last 48 episodes, and how can we transmute that into something bigger and bolder and better, which we are working on. But there's been so much that we can practically add in every day. And once again, it's always a pleasure. It's always so much fun.
But it's like you said, I'm really grateful to have this platform as well to share it with you, to share it with the world. And we're constantly learning, we're constantly growing, and we'll grow more. I feel like in a year it will be way bigger, and then we'll have, I don't know how many books out of it that we can write, like based on what we have learned from our guests, from our different guests, and who is coming on board as well. I feel there are more that are coming. I could see that happening, and the universe have been placing those people. And obviously my news feed is filled with those people now, so it's about just contacting them and connecting with them and creating that space for all of us, like to co-create. I feel it becomes that co-creation with the universe and how to navigate the divine mess. So I feel it's a good time to wrap it up, right?
Always.
Because we can go on and on. I feel
exactly 1,000%. So we love you. Thank you so much for joining us on the couch today, and we look forward to having you when we have our next beautiful guest on next week. Until then, take really good care of yourself and do what makes you happy today.
Thank you. Enjoy
Thank
your
you.
week.
Okay, ciao.